Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with No, the Other Side by Strosahl, which will hopefully remind us because this rule is interesting. So we have normal 6x6 Sudoku rules. That means in each row, each column, and each 2x3 box, we are placing the digits 1 to 6 exactly once each. These clues outside the grid are opposite x sums, not our normal x sums. So whatever digit goes at the right next to the clue, say this was a 3, that tells us that the 3 digits on the other side sum to 7. So we could do, say, 2, 1, oopsie, 2, 1, 4. So this is saying use 3 digits to add to 7. What 3 digits do we use? We use the last 3 in the row, 2, 1, 4, and that would add 7. If what I press, I don't know. That's not the solution, by the way. If this was a 2 instead, we would use 2 digits at the end to add to 7, maybe 3, 4. And that's it. Those are the rules. There's a link in the description if you'd like to try the puzzle yourself. And I'm going to get started right now. Okay. So we can't use normal x-sum logic here. It seems much looser because normal x-sum logic includes the count in the sum, and so it gets more limited. But I can still say that 7 has to be done in 2 or 3. We know it's not done in 1 because 7 isn't a digit we can put here. And it can't be done in 4 because 4 digits add to at least 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10. 5 needs to be done in 1 or 2 digits. So either that's a 5 or these two add to 5. If it's these two adding to 5, they'd be 1, 4, which is interesting, but it means that 1 is either here or it's a 2, which makes this a 1, 4, putting 1 up here. I'm just going to seed all of these, though. 9 can be done in 2 with a 4, 5 or a 3, 6, and it can be done in 3. But remember that 4 adds to at least 10. Now, 10 can be done in 2. We can do 4, 6, or 3, or 4. 11 can be done in 2, 3, or 4 as well. Now, let's think about 11 for... actually, I want to think about 10 for a second, maybe. 10 actually can't be done in 4 because 4 needs to be used to do it. We can't put 1, 2, 3, 4 here if this is a 4. So that's not a 4. Now, 11 actually skips the 4 when you do it in 4. It does 1, 2, 3, 5. And so 4 is viable. I'm wondering if 3 is viable to get to 11. You know, I think it probably is. Exclude the 3. So I guess the way to think about it, I don't know if this is helpful at all. It may not be helpful. But let's talk about a generic thing we can do, which is the entire column adds to 21 because 1 through 6 is 21. So if this were a 3, I'll just fill it. If this were a 3, then these 3 digits would sum to 11, meaning these 3 digits would sum to 10. So it might be easier to think about how do we sum to 10 if we already know there's a 3 in there? Well, then these two need to add to 7. And there's a lot of ways to do that. We could do 1, 6, or we could do 2, 5. We just can't do 3, 4. So this is very viable with a 3 is the conclusion. All right. How about 16, though? 16, we should definitely think about the outies. And so 21 minus 16 is 5. We know that 5 needs... So we know that the part that isn't in the sum, which is going to be this digit and then maybe some more, need to add to 5. And so 5 is viable. If we put a 5 here, actually these will add to 16. So this could just be a 5. 4 would force these two to add to 5. And so we'd have to do 4 then 1. But it is viable. 3 is not going to be viable. 3 digits can't add to 5. We'd have to be 3, 1, 1. All right, so that's 4 or 5. So the only thing I see is we ended up with this 2, 3 pair here. Maybe it has to do with the, I don't know, I was going to say the overlapping digit here, but there's not an overlapping digit there. We could think about the outies overlapping. Okay. The outies in this column add to 11. And the problem is the outies include this digit. So even though it seemed like it was possible to do 2... Oh, no, sorry. But the outies would be 4 in size. No, it is absolutely possible to do 2 with a 4, 6. Huh. Okay, maybe, I don't know. How do I think about this? Is there ends that are important here? Well, actually, let's think about this here. This is a 2 or a 3. If this was a 2, these two need to add to 5, but this ends up a 3. How are these two adding to 5? We can't do it. The 2 is already gone. And the 2's gone here as well. So that's not going to happen. This actually has to be 1, which puts a 5 there. All right, that's progress. When I had gotten to the 5, I hadn't penciled the 9 and 10 yet. let's just fill that this is 1, 4, 6. So if this ends up a 2, this has to be 1 because the 4, 6 ends up down here. That's just something to think about. Or to just remember. I don't know if we can think about it right now. A 2 for the 9 would be either 4, 5 or 3, 6. 3, pretty open. We know that there's a 5 somewhere over here. So if we did a 3 here, it definitely has to include the 5. So the other 2 digits would add to 4, which would have to be 1, 3. And that doesn't work. Okay, so if this was a 3, my point is that because the 5 is up here, we would need to include a 5 in our sum. And so how do we add to 9 with a 5? Well, we need 4 more. The only way to get 4 more is a 1, 3 pair, but the 3 is already gone. So we can't do that, which means that this is the 2. That's a 3. That's not a 3. Okay, we're between 2 and 4, which is interesting. 4 would require these 2 digits to be a 5, 6 pair, which would resolve this. So the 9, we know there's a 3 and a 5 down here, which means the 9 and 2 is not going to be 3, 5, because that adds to 8. And so this is the 3, 5 that isn't in our sum. Now, the 3, 5 that is in our sum dictates whether we're 3, 6 or 4, 5, but we can't really tell the difference right now. It does mean that 1 is never used. We definitely can't use 1 in any of these cells because this has to be the 3, 5 that isn't part of our 9 sum. And so the 1 ends up down here, and that means this is not a 1. Okay. What about 11 and 4? We can't do 11 and 4 anymore because the 11 and 4 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5. But this is 3 or 5 already. And so where's the 6 going to go? Nowhere is the answer. So it can't be a 4. It has to be 2. That makes these 2 add to 11, which is a 5, 6 pair. That makes this a 4. And so we know the outies of the 16 add to 5. So this has to be a 1. And this is the other 2, 3. And so this can't be a 3, I guess. I'm debating if I want to pencil this 9 sum. Have we covered everything? We haven't covered 10 and 3 yet. Or if we prefer 11 and 3 up here, including the 3. And so then 11 minus 3 is 8. These 2 add to 8. So it's definitely not going to use the 1. So this is our 1. And so we're not going to use the 4 either. Can't do 3, 4, 4. So we're going to have to do 3, 6, 2. And that adds to 11. And then that's going to make these add to 10 with the 1 here. And then this is going to be 4, 5. And that's our 5, that's our 4. So these do add to 10. That worked. All right, that's a 4. This is 6 and 5. This row needs 2 or 3. Up here we need 2, 3, 6. This ends up being a 3. So now we know this is a 4, 5 pair, and we have the order. That's 5, 4. Up here we need a 1, 6. We know the order. That's 6 and 1. I think we're resolving now. This is 1, 4. That's a 1, that's a 4. Here we need 2, 3. That's 3 and 2. And here I need a 5, 6, which is not resolved yet. Okay, so up here, I know I need a 4. The 4 goes here. And this is 5 or 6. And then down here, I need a 3. And I need a 5 or 6. It's not 5. There must be a sandwich sum I haven't thought about. This 7, probably. So this 4 will be involved in the 7 sum. And 1 will not be. And so we're not doing it in 3. We're going to do it in 2. And that's our 3, 6. That's 6, 2, 3. That's 5, 6. That's 5, 3. And we're done. Very cool puzzle, Strosahl. I enjoyed that quite a lot. Thinking about the outies is interesting. Like, it's basically like the opposite x sums. It's almost easier to think about as if it were a regular x sum, but with a inverted sum. Is it exactly? No, it's not exactly equivalent to x sums because we're talking about how many digits aren't in rather than how many digits are in, if you want to think about it like an x sum. All right, cool. Well, how'd you do?